Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, shall we go ahead and take a peek at just a brief little message for the 22nd, even though I know we're pretty much done with the 22nd, and then we'll go to the 23rd for today's tarot topic. What was the big ticket item for the 22nd? We have poised. Okay, so on the 22nd, we could have had a character that was feeling like things kind of were in a standstill, or maybe somebody spent a lot of time, like on Sunday, the 22nd, um, doing like prep work, getting themselves like meal prep and getting themselves ready for this next week. It could have been, let me kind of posture, let me kind of, gather everything that I need to right now, let me organize and structure everything and get ready for the next thing that comes. Let me take a closer look at that. And what does that mean? Six of Cups. There is some subtle, either a really good energetic connection. Love some Steph. Nice to see you, babe. There is an energy of like a connection there. High Priestess, Hierophant. Okay. If the 22nd felt like a character was holding their breath a bit, energetically preparing themselves a bit, it may be because they were. There's definitely some serious soulmate power coming together, and the High Priestess could sense it, and the Hierophant is, kind of like vibing, and a crown chakra's opening, and there's this awareness for two different people that something is brewing, and we're in this like pause. I'm almost picturing, when two people step out onto a dance floor and they are just about to start to sway to the music, but for just a moment they just pause, and then the music begins. That's what this feels like. Hi, RT. Nice to see you, hun. So that's what today could have felt like, an interesting, energetic day, but almost like something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. I can't see it. I can't, lay my hands on it, but I know it's something's coming. Hi, Mooney. And the Devil. There was maybe a restlessness to the day as well. Restless because it's like anytime we're waiting for something to happen, but it hasn't happened yet, how there's a like confusion. So today could have been an interesting day. Okay, let's jump to the 23rd. So for the 23rd, what do we have? Because I think that's going to be an interesting, leap forward, especially if the 22nd felt like a weird holding pattern. I'm going to go with, let's go with this deck. Sweet dreams, love some stuff. We have got home. Okay, so on the 23rd, we could have somebody getting a message. She's not looking at a cell phone, but it seems like it's the wrong era for a cell phone. But it's like looking at a, like the old fashioned kind of tin, when they did, photography, and it was like in a little tin thing. It almost seems like that. Like she's looking at somebody's picture. Okay, tell me about the 23rd. We have the Tower, we have the Star. Marikai Healing Arts Ohio. Hey, darling. Tower and Star, two major arcana. Holy smokes. So we're rocking tons of major arcana for the 22nd and for the 23rd now. But this vibe is taking us into like magic. There's a big old collapse, and then there is like a long distance. This could be a long distance phone call. This could be a divine masculine goes through a massive upheaval. They could be leaving a location. I mean, the Tower is where the ego drops, right? But it's also a major collapse of something. And then it leads to, I mean, we have like a Swan Lake imagery here. And, swans, they mate for life as well. We have this moon. So it's like somebody very far away. But the Star is on the Tower as well as on the Star card, you notice? So I'm going to say this is definitely, I want to say ET phone home, or like there's some connection between two people where they they're connecting, no matter what a huge expanse of space and time there is. Hi, Liver. Nice to see you, babe. Six of Cups is in the reverse. Is this two people who haven't talked in a long time? Was it that on the 22nd they were kind of getting revved up? They were kind of sensing each other's energy, feeling each other's energy, aware of one another to a certain extent, and now it's like, even though things are starting to happen, there's like an energy of disbelief perhaps on the 23rd. It's just weird because the vibe is so strong, and then it's almost like, no, this couldn't be happening. I'm sure this isn't the right time. And yet we already had the home. If somebody wants to go home and they are ready to tear down a previous like lifestyle and travel as far away as they need to, then why do we have one person saying, no, they're not returning to me? That would never happen. Is it her saying that, even though she's also the one most aware that there's like a homing beacon? Queen of Cups, it's definitely her saying, look, I loved them, they didn't love me. Maybe that's why we see her sitting here looking at an image. She may be wearing blue on the 23rd as well. I just noticed she's in blue on both of those cards. She may think that the time is past. So, keep in mind the Six of Cups can be a card of reminiscing and nostalgia as well as soulmates. And so if that is in the reverse, I could see how she's saying, nah, I might have thought of them. I might have even looked or reread some old message, but that's why I'm sure that they're not returning to me, for goodness sakes. I mean, I loved them, but it was a one-way street. This says it's not a one-way street. This says, in this case, a masculine, possibly Aries, is about to make their move. Tell me just about that Tower card. The Lovers, the Fool. So from the dark side of the moon, they are about to take that leap. We're going to start in on our retrograde messages starting tomorrow. Retrograde starts on the 26th of this month. So we're only 3 days out. And I feel like this is like, we're already, revving up for it, because this definitely feels like communication coming back around. It feels like, come on, they're carrying a rose. They're ready to take this leap for their lover. It is very much love oriented. I want to ask, what is it that you're willing to drop? He's all in red here as well. So I would just read that as like somebody very fiery, very passionate, perhaps. But what is it that you're willing to let go? Is it just the ego, or is it that you are willing to like change something in your life? We have the Chariot upright, and we have the Seven of Cups in the reverse. Again, with the clocks, I keep feeling like this is more than them just like calling. This is them wanting to move forward and maybe physically like travel if they have to, no matter what the distance is. The Seven of Cups, the thing that they're dropping with that Tower card is confusion. They're not confused at all anymore. I don't know if they ever were exactly confused, but if this had been a long distance relationship or something, I only say that because the moon, and the star. Hanged Man in the reverse and the Five of Coins. I honestly think in order for them to pursue something, they maybe had to get out of a holding pattern, and maybe they had to be willing to quit a job or a career path. They might have just been offered more money if they would stay, and they might be at the point where they're like, I don't care about that. I care about my Queen of Cups. It doesn't matter to me if I could stay for more money. It's not going to cut it. You notice how the person is like standing up saying, no, it's not about the money. I mean, heck, maybe they weren't even making that much money in whatever lifestyle they were staying in. And it's like, what am I trading a love story for a paycheck. Like, this doesn't make sense. If I have to move to be with my Queen of Cups, then so be it. I don't think this is them saying, hey, I'm bored with this job. Hey, maybe I'll just finally move and go be with her. It's not that. It's that they're finally choosing love. They're choosing the adventure of a lifetime over like staying stuck wherever they had been for whatever that purpose was, whatever the lifestyle was, whatever the house was. This could be giving up their, upstairs apartment in some kind of swanky place. Whatever this is, it just doesn't matter so much anymore. I don't think that they're leaving everything all at once, even though the Tower is a pretty swift, like, everything goes away. But first and foremost, it's the confusion of what am I going to do? That's the thing that goes away first. But now it feels more like it's communication. Are they really communicating on this day, or is this more still like the buildup, as we approach retrograde? See, the Devil. I wondered about that because, look, for anything to happen in life, sometimes, like, okay, think about baking bread. You don't just put the ingredients together and then throw it in the oven, right? You got to first put a little bit of sugar in with your water, and then you sprinkle your yeast on it and you let the yeast do its thing. Then you beat in your flour, and if you're adding in eggs and butter and salt and sugar, and then you have to knead it, and then you let it sit and you let it rise. And then you punch it down, and then you shape it if you're making like Swiss egg bread, for example, and you braid it, and then you let it rise again. And then finally you put your little egg wash on it, and then you finally bake it. And then you got bread. The point is, you committed to making bread as soon as you got your big bowl out and you started, putting some yeast and sprinkling it on the warm water. You knew what you were doing, but you don't get bread for several more hours. And I feel like that's maybe the better way to look at this. They're making the decision to bake the bread, but we're not necessarily going to get the bread immediately. That Devil card says there's delays, there's fear. As much as they're like, I'm doing this, there's still fears there. Ace of Swords, doesn't matter. They're writing themselves a new book, right? The decision is being made, even if like the complete execution of the plan isn't happening all at once, but the decision is made. But it's interesting. I want to go back to her for just a second and say, why is it that she feels this, but then says, nah, that won't happen? Is it because she is attuned to the fact that they're making this decision, and then there's also some fear, but they're still insisting I'm doing this? Or is it that she's kind of given up a certain amount of hope? 8 of Cups, she is trying to give up hope, but she can't help but keep looking back. She was trying to walk away from this and stop thinking about this, but she can't help but sometimes look back over her shoulder. 8 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. She's perpetually working on saying it's over. So why can't I say that it's over? I've been working on this ending, accepting the ending, believing that this is an ending. I've been working on this. So how come I still look over my shoulder? It's weird though, because she can feel all this sense of like, but there's this pull where I'm thinking the word home and I'm thinking of them, almost like I'm calling them home, but I'm trying to say that's not happening. I'm walking away. I think it's that she's really like attuned to their energy has been stuck for a long time, but their energy is shifting. And it's probably, sometimes we know what we should do. We know what we want to do, but we don't have the courage to do it. There's so many times in our lives, like I remember a job thing that I was in, and I knew it wasn't right for me and I wanted out, but I was about to quit. And then I was like, no. So I stayed for a whole nother month. But I remember there were like 4 times where I almost just stood up and left. And then finally one day I did. But there were like 3 or 4, because it's almost like, well, you're not allowed to leave, right? And it's like, but I can almost not keep myself here anymore. But that's still, you those are big life decisions sometimes. And so the bigger and more important it is, the more you might hold yourself back from what you know you need to do until one day you just do it. One day you say, okay, I really am going to say goodbye now. I really am. And then nobody can talk you out of it because you're like, you don't understand. That dialogue went on up in here like a freaking tennis match for like months and then another serious month. And now I'm done. But you got to get to that point so you know why you're doing what you're doing. With that 10 of Cups, she picks up on their indecisiveness and their stuck energy, but it's like she's feeling like every day their stuck energy is getting less stuck because they are seeing this happiness, this potential, this joy, this opportunity for great happiness, and a 10 of Cups. Even as she's trying to say, this will never happen, I want to let it go. I'm trying to walk away and accept a 10 of Swords, but I keep feeling a vibe from them that says they're thinking about a 10 of Cups, and that's getting more and more every day. Let me ask this, universe, what is the best message just for her? Because that's such an, like mind-bending place to be where it's like, okay, I feel this, but nothing's happening. I'm trying to walk away, but then I get peeled back. This says to her, don't think about them and what they're going to do at all. Move onward from this. Look only to things in your own immediate future. Write down a list of all the wonderful things you look forward to doing. Make them achievable goals, day-to-day goals. Keep your mind active on how your life is moving forward. Otherwise, what you're going to have is, months full of bones of days that you felt like you were stuck waiting on. Is today the day they're going to reach out? And there went another day crossed off my calendar where I was too busy thinking about what someone else might or might not do. I think that makes so much sense, like at least visually to me, with the bones there. She shouldn't waste a single precious moment of her amazing life and her amazing energy. She should be filling her days, her hours, her months with the things she can't wait to do for her own life and how it's going to push her life forward. So it should be a joyful life that she lives, only focusing on what she wants for tomorrow and 2 weeks after that and 3 months after that and 5 years after that. The more she can look at her goals and her future that she wants to have, the less she'll feel like time is like never ending and she's trapped in between, like saying, it's over, right? It's supposed to be over. This says, don't think about anything being over. Think about stuff that we simply progress beyond. And if it catches up to us and hops in the car beside us at some point, cool. But it shouldn't stop our growth or stop anything for us. And I kind of love that for her, because again, they could still get waylaid. We see their intention, but they may not take action, on the 23rd. What is the universe's message to them? The last judgment, the universe for them is like, so now listen, you're in the middle of this freaking volcano and you got one last shot to get it right with this Queen of Cups. You want that Queen of Cups, don't you dare mess this one up. The universe is probably not being so rude. No, but there is the edge of like, hey, make sure you realize, do it and go all in and do it right and show up right so that you don't blow it, because you got a shot still. So, but this will be your last shot because she's going to move on without you. If you show up in her life, you better be ready to bring your A game so that you guys can make this work now. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this here. Lots of love. Yvonne, nice to see you. Dragon Fortnite, Ariel Cavell, CDW, Mama Eagle. Hi, babe. Melania, how are you? Shout out to you in Rome. You're so sweet. Thank you, babe. VM Leave, Helen York, Baby Yoda, Laverde. Thank you, guys. Marikai, thank you, honey. Love some Steph and Mooney and RT. Thank you, everybody. All right, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.